Welcome to the Cleveland Browns versus Philadelphia Eagles Fanatical Browns Tailgate Show, brought to you by the Fanatical L's Network. And I'm your host tonight, along with Steve Gill and Elliot Cannell. We are hosting tonight. We are glad that you have joined us here on this live broadcast as we prepare for the Browns versus Philly game coming up in just a little bit over an hour from now. We might not have the starters playing tonight, but we do have a lot of things to talk about. A lot of guys that are in that second group coming in, some rookies tonight that we're going to be really watching. So again, welcome aboard. We're part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we have Elliot Cannell here over there down in the Dayton area. We got three guys on our network that live in the Dayton area. We got Elliot, we got Joel Cade, and we got Rod Bloom, who does the Browns Blitz. Joel does the What the Elf Was That, and then Elliot now and Joel have the new Browniacs show. Yes. And then we've got Steve Gill up there, who does his Dog Pound South show. Brings it to you every Monday. Some great stuff. He's bringing a non-sort of Cleveland perspective for us fans who are outside the Cleveland area. I lived in Kansas, Wichita, the Oz chapter of the Browns backers for 26 years. And Steve totally gets and understands, which I want to talk about the Browns backers here in a minute. But we are live, and we are happy that you are here. Elliot, we'll start with you. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing okay. You know, I would have liked to have gone live at one of the Browns backers' drinking establishments tonight. I wasn't able to because I tested positive for COVID today, so I had to cancel that plan. I'm just by myself so as not to expose any of our friends to this dread disease. I feel fine, but It's still, a terrible disease, and somebody else who catches it might actually die from it, so I have to isolate. So here I am.
Well, we are glad that you are here, and we're glad that you're drinking your tea, and you're on the road to recovery.
I feel fine.
You look like a dapper Cleveland Browns. You know, you're Paul Brown. You're the Intolerables or the Untouchables. You're the Raiders of the Lost Ark guy. So we're happy that you're here. Steve, how are you tonight?
Doing great. Down here in Nashville. Getting ready for Saturday night's big NSL League Championship. Nashville SC versus Miami. Lionel Messi's coming to town.
Ooh.
Yeah, let me tell you, the city's been buzzing ever since the match was set up. So the Geodis Park, which is where they play, will be sold out.
Wow, that's Excellent. Good. So we've got this game here in Philly coming up, and for all week the Browns have been practicing with the Eagles. They started Monday. They had a practice Tuesday. I think they did a little bit of something on Wednesday, and now they're a walkthrough. Yeah. So I just kind of we're hearing starters aren't going to be playing. It's going to be the second teamers. We know Dorian Thompson-Robinson is going to be starting off as quarterback in the first half. Kellen Mond will play the second half. Josh Dobbs is not going to be quarterbacking. Part of the hype or speculation, some people are really high on Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the rookie, and can he is he able to challenge? Is he going to challenge Josh Dobbs for that number 2 quarterback position behind Deshaun? So let's start just your overall takes as we get into the game tonight. We'll start down there with you, Elliot. How are you feeling about tonight? What are you looking for? And do you think Josh Dobbs has any chance is any risk of losing his backup role?
Well, I think what I want to see is what kind of plays the Browns are running. I really challenge the notion that the Browns are going to open up the game for wide receivers with this new Deshaun Watson's offense. I don't think that's really the case. That's not necessarily what he ran in Houston, where they had 2 running backs. In fact, there were 2 former Cleveland Browns running backs. Yes. Some of the best years that he had were with Duke Johnson and with Carlos Hyde in the backfield, and they got almost as many yards as the Browns had with Kareem Hunt and a fellow named Nick Chubb. So that offense worked pretty well for the Houston Texans because they were not as good as our guys. All right, they did not have the same talent level
Right.
in the running backs, but they still got a whole bunch of yards. So what I saw from reviewing the tape from the Washington game is that the Browns were playing their tight ends extensively, and they were doing pretty well with it. And in some cases, they played as many as 3 tight ends in the same formation, 1 wide receiver, 1 running back. So I don't care. Some people are upset unless the wide receiver gets lots of yards and unless they throw bombs to the wide receivers. I don't care how they make yards. If they have great tight ends and they throw passes to great tight ends, I'm totally cool with that. Some people are going to get upset unless they throw to wide receivers. And I think that's nonsense. Whatever works, do it. Yeah. And I think that the Browns do have talented tight ends. And if they want to throw to the tight ends and use the tight ends to block for Nick Chubb, I'm totally on board with that. Let Stefanski run his offense and quit whining about, I want to see wide receivers running deep patterns. That's what I want. Well, great. By the way, that's exactly the same debate that they're having over in Baltimore, where they want to see Odell Beckham Jr. make one-handed catches. I want to see one-handed catches. In fact, that's what the general manager is saying. That's why he made this crazy deal with Odell for $15 million that I would have made. Yeah. I don't know that that's a formula for success. We tried that in Cleveland and finally gave up on it. Right. Good luck with that, guys. I don't think that's a smart move. I think I'm totally happy with running over people, beating them up, and winning games in the fourth quarter by attrition. Mm-hmm. Go for it.
Yeah. Excellent take. Oh, I'm exhausted, man. And okay, Steve. Same questions.
What am I looking for?
Yeah, and just
I'm just looking for. Look, it's preseason. Okay, I know the Cleveland media up there is making a ton about the lack of the long ball and all that crap. That's the reason I started my blog, so I can step away and I listen to it, I read about it. I think the media got a little bit spoiled during OTAs and mini camps when Marquise Goodwin was running down the field, making a couple big long ball catches, and they were all going crazy during OTAs and mini camps, and now they're not doing it. It's preseason. Believe me, they were saying the same thing in 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, nobody plays. The offense won't be ready, and we gave Kansas City everything they got in the opening game in 2021. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I was there. I was there in person. The Browns, the fan base in Kansas City was in shell shock. I sat there that whole game, and the Browns should have won that game.
Yes.
They should have won that game. They just made some mistakes. Yeah.
It's August 17th. We're going into our 3rd preseason game. The Browns will play it close to the vest, be a lot of vanilla. I agree with Elliot. I rewatched the Washington game. They had a lot of they ran 3 tight end sets quite a bit. Fine. I'm good.
No,
with
I
that.
said to Elliot,
I don't care.
But I said, okay, but I said,
just get out of there with no
right.
major injuries.
So let me just switch gear. Well, let's continue this conversation about, the team and players. Okay. So, I mean, none of us think that, Josh Dobbs is at risk of losing his backup role. I don't think he's going to. I mean, it's an acute story that Dorian Robinson's doing these things. And he's a little of a punk. Did you see him flip off the finger to the Washington bench the other night? I don't know if anybody caught that. Yeah, he's a little bit of a Baker. He's a little bit of a Baker Mayfield.
Johnny Manziel did that.
Right. So, okay. So the other guy we're talking about, and I want your take on this because I just think it's hilarious. Cade York. Okay. Cade York. So Cade, he missed his.
I want to talk about the quarterback situation.
Okay. Well, we'll come right back, and I'll let you get to that. I wanted to throw this out there, Elliot. You can comment on that too, and the quarterbacks. Cade York, has been missing some field goals and whatnot, and I'm annoyed because not with Cade York. I'm annoyed with these people on social media because that's what I do. Tony Grossi. I know you guys follow him a little bit, and I know some of you like his stuff. And I've always respected the guy. I know he gets a raw deal from a lot of people, especially younger Browns fans who have not followed Tony for years, like you and I, like we have. I mean, I've listened to Tony for decades. I mean, he's been on forever.
Yes.
And so I got really annoyed the other night when he's up there in the press box. They had some video of him watching Cade York, and he missed the field goal. And if you watch the clip, I mean, he sort of chuckled about it, but it's what every one of us was doing, and people were giving him a lot of crap about it. And I was just like, why are you like? It's so manipulative and so minute how Browns fans like to get on some angle. We all do this. We follow, but with this whole situation with Cade York, and then finding Tony Grossi giggling about it, something that all of us did when we were watching that, and the guy missed the kick. I was going, well, what the hell? Like, he's got to make the kick. We all did that, and. So anyway, and then, we come back to preseason now, or this week, and they're practicing, and he went 6 for 6. I don't know. I mean, I think personally that the kid's got some mental things going upstairs. It's a pressure situation. So anyway, I want to talk about that and the quarterback situation. Ellie, go ahead.
Well, I say this about kickers. I compare this to the military, where we were told in training that we're going to put pressure on you. It's going to be artificial pressure. We aren't really going to shoot you or anything like that, but we're going to try to make you feel uncomfortable, because that's what is going to happen to you in an actual, wartime situation. And you have to learn how to handle it. And so I have no problem at all with people making the kicker feel uncomfortable, with bringing in competition for the kicker. And I disagree with those that say that, we don't want to hurt his feelings, and we don't want him to feel the pressure of competition with another kicker. By all means, bring in another kicker and put pressure on him, because he has to learn to deal with pressure one way or the other. And so, I agree with you. Tony Grossi should definitely get a free pass and do whatever he wants. He's the dean of the football writers in this town. I'll never say I will say bad things about Tony, but in a loving way. We need Tony Grossi in order to exist. Let's face it. Everybody should read Tony Grossi in order to understand what's going on with the Cleveland Browns.
He's always been
every day. Read our stuff too.
Yes.
But read Tony Grossi, because he sets the baseline for.
By the way,
sports.
But I do want to throw this out to people that are listening and did discover we're actually not live. We're recording this. So Steve and Elliot, we're going to get this off to the fans before I pushed the wrong button. So, but beyond that, we are part of the Fanatical Elves Network, and we are writing also. We also contribute to Steve does the Cleveland Sports Talk and his own blog. Elliot writes for Dog Pound Daily. But we also are starting to write for Fans First Sports Network. So some of us are going to be doing that, including myself. So be tuning into that. We have a website for the for the Fans First Sports Network. So it's a national website, and it'll be easy to follow us, and we'll get that up on social media platforms. Steve, questions on Cade York, or did we already talk about? No, Cade York, and then the quarterbacks. If anything you want to share on that.
Cade York, too late to bring in competition. Should have done it at the beginning of training camp. It's way too late to do it. No kicker is going to come in here and know that they're going to eventually be cut. They're going to want guaranteed money. It's not going to happen. They're going to ride this kid all the way into the regular season. And, I wish they had brought in competition at the beginning. That would have been very nice, but it's too late. It's not going to happen. As for Josh Dobbs, he's your number 2. He's your number 2 quarterback. You don't want a rookie backing up Deshaun Watson. Now, I will give Dorian Thompson-Rondon credit for one thing. He does bring a spark to the offense, and, he had 50 starts in college. Usually quarterbacks with that many starts are successful at the next level. He seems to be getting the speed part of the NFL kind of down pat.
Quicker.
So
I like
Yeah,
that
so-
take. You think about comparing him to somebody like we watched, and I don't know if either one of you had a chance to watch the Johnny Football Untold Story yet on Netflix, but you look at Johnny, and he played 2 years and then made it here to Cleveland, and so you're comparing Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who did he go all 4 years? Right? Didn't he play all 4? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was a 5-year starter.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little
So,
different
yeah.
than doing something like now Brandon Whedon. Now that's another old guy that he was 35,000 years old when he started, but what did he play baseball and did some other stuff? And
Oh yeah, he was a baseball player.
yeah. So anyway,
So-
well, I think Dorian Thompson, we all
I'm looking
agreed.
forward to tonight and seeing how he
Oh, me
does
too. Yeah.
starting
So
in
let's
a
talk-
hostile environment.
Yeah,
the first time
I disagree with your assessment,
Ah,
and the reason is that there's a rule change.
we all coughed at the same time.
Yeah, and the rule change is that you're allowed to have a third string quarterback
Yeah.
that comes on the field, as your emergency quarterback. So, but even that, you can have a third quarterback on the practice squad and use him as a temporary promotion.
Okay.
And yeah, that's what I really intended to say.
Yeah.
And so you could cut Josh Dobbs if you believe that nobody would claim him on waivers, and you could keep him on the practice squad, and you could promote him 3 times and use him as the backup without having him on the 53 player roster.
Why is it 3 times?
Because that's the limit.
That you can bring him up from the practice squad?
Yeah, and then on the 4th week, then you have to make the decision whether you're going to give him an actual promotion or not. But if you wanted to have an extra roster spot and you were pretty sure that nobody was going to claim him as a backup quarterback, you could take a chance and waive him, expose him to waivers, put him on the practice squad, and yet put him on the field as the temporary promotion from the practice squad 3 weeks, and have him be the backup quarterback for real. And so I think he might not make the 53 player roster out of summer camp.
Okay.
But still be the second string quarterback.
The only problem with that is you have a 16-man practice squad, and 6 of those players can have 2 or more years of service time. That means 10 of them are rookies or 1-year players. So which 6 players with 2 years or more of NFL experience are you going to put on the practice squad?
I don't know, but one of them would be the quarterback.
I would think an offensive lineman like a Gossett or a Wes Martin might be a little bit more important than trying to sneak Josh Dobbs onto the practice squad. They're going to carry 3 quarterbacks.
The quarterback
in
is
their
the
final
most
50.
important. He is the most number one important guy.
They can carry all 3, and then Dorian Thompson-Robinson on game day won't count towards the 48-man game.
Oh, so the game roster is only 48. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. See, I learned something tonight.
Yeah, I don't think
they
want
receiver.
I don't think they want Dorian to be the actual second string guy, but he would be the third string guy that could be activated if the first 2 guys get injured under the new rule.
So let's so the game tonight, I want to look forward just a little bit, not too much, but we're talking about the game tonight. It's coming up here in about an hour, less than an hour. So we're going to be on just for a few more minutes, and then we're going to let everybody get to watch the game. Hopefully you're having a great tailgate.
Not the gate.
Hopefully everyone's having a great tailgate tonight and enjoying listening to us. So after this game, the Browns then play next week again against the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe it's a Saturday or Sunday that they play.
Saturday, 1:00 Eastern, I believe.
So I'm assuming that game's going to be nationally televised somewhere.
NFL Network.
So the Browns, have been practicing with Philly. They've now they're playing tonight, Thursday, so they have a long time. I don't know what exactly the training camp schedule is going to look like. Then they go out to Kansas City. They play on Saturday at 1:00.
Correct.
So are we expecting, because we have a 2-week window until the Browns officially play week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Will we see Deshaun Watson? Will we see the starters? Will we see someone like Nick Chubb play in that game?
I have heard that Deshaun Watson will play a half. I don't know how reliable that is, but because of that layoff,
you talked to Deshaun himself.
I'm hearing the starters are going to play quite a bit in the first half.
Yeah, they often play a half and then play one series in the second half. It's typical.
Yeah, usually so they can do the halftime adjustments. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do that. That would be a wise thing to do. But let's see what happens. Andy Reid plays Mahomes all the time in preseason, so you might as well, roll the dice. Let's go.
I thought it was funny, Elliot, the other night when I listened to. By the way, Elliot and Joel had an extra "What the Elf Was That" episode, and they had a gentleman by the name of Ed Kracz.
Yes.
From the Philadelphia Eagles, SI Sports Illustrated. It was a fantastic interview. If you get a chance, go back and listen to it on the Fanatical Elves Network. You can just go on Apple or Spotify, type in Cleveland Browns podcast, and boom, we come up, Fanatical Elves Network. You can Google us. Anyway, the show was cool, and now I lost my train of thought. We were talking about the game.
Got derailed, didn't it?
I know you were. Oh, I know what it. Well, wait.
What are we looking forward to?
What are we looking forward to,
Elliot?
What am I looking forward to? Well, sure. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of plays they run. I mentioned that I think that we should look at the formations that they run, how many tight ends there are. I also wanted to mention that there's this legend that we're going to throw all kinds of bombs to Elijah Moore. But what I saw was that they're really lining him up in the backfield as a running back, and then they're throwing short passes to him. Yeah. And he's running behind a convoy of big guys as blockers. So that's how they're using their tight ends as blockers for him.
Let me ask you,
running behind all these monsters. It's like tank warfare out there.
Well, I just want to step in here too. I want to mention this guy because I know Steve loves this guy, and I'm going to let Steve talk about it more. But I love this Austin Watkins pickup.
Oh yeah.
I just think incredible. I'm telling you right. I think that he could be the real deal, and I would love for the Browns to figure out a way to pick him up. I get annoyed with the Browns because sometimes I think they think they know everything better than us, which they do. But regardless, you see some of these stories. You see some of these stories in preseason. We've talked about some players in the past, in the preseasons in the past, that we thought, okay, maybe this guy would make it, and then we find out that he gets cut. I think that Austin Watkins, I love the kid's size. I think he's 6'1", 6'2". He's a little taller than your traditional guy. I like that size, and I love the speed. And I just think that he playing in the USFL and playing where he did in college, I just, looking at his stats, seeing how he did things in the past, I just think this is a great opportunity. I think Cleveland would really be smart to at least give this guy an opportunity. I don't know. So, Steve?
Well, if they put Marquise Goodwin on the non-injured football list, I've always maintained that they're going to keep 6 wide receivers. They can slot him in there. The only problem with that is, can he return kicks and punts? Yeah, because that's usually what they're going to save their 6th guy for. But yeah, I love the kid. He came out of nowhere. I'm interested tonight in seeing if they play the new running back, Jordan Wilkins. I want to see how he does.
Yes.
Also, Elliott brought the tight end up last week, Mitchell Padden. He had a great game against Washington. And now that we find out that Harrison Bryant has a health issue, not an injury, health issue, and it seemed to have disappeared. I think Mitchell Patton has a good shot if he has a really good game.
What's going on there? That's new news to me. I haven't been.
He came back from West Virginia. I think he was working on the side the first training camp, and now he's disappeared. And every time the coach is asked, he said he has a health issue. So this is a perfect opportunity for Mitchell Patton to step up. He had a great game against Washington.
Well, Harrison Bryant just got married. I'm kind of sad.
What's that got to do with anything?
I don't know. I'm just sad. I'm sad. You know, it was a nice story.
I know it's a nice story, but he has a health issue. I hope he's doing well. I hope he doesn't have some serious COVID, or something like that.
Well, you think about it. I mean, we don't know. I got to share this, and I know this isn't football related, but a lot of people know, if you have followed my podcast, The Johnny Cleveland Show, over the years, and part of the Fanatical Elves Network now, that one of the things I talk about is my side gig. Well, this is my side gig, but my other side gig would be that I'm a school counselor by day, and we have a new superintendent in the school district that I work in, and he talked a lot about stories and telling stories and how people relate to, people talk about we all have our own story. We all want to belong, and this is part of what I do in my other profession. So I just think it's interesting because, we talk about the Browns and we talk about Harrison Bryant right now in a medical condition. We don't know, but Stefanski over the years has really built this sort of thing with his players, and where they share, back in West Virginia, they talked about that. I forget what they call it, but certain number of players, share out their stories and their background. I just think it's a cool concept. That's one of the reasons why I really do respect Kevin Stefanski. But I will say this too about Stefanski, and I'm throwing everybody for a loop here. But Elliot, when you were speaking to the Philadelphia Eagle beat writer the other day, it was interesting because, Stefanski grew up in Philly. A lot of people might not know that. And he went to Penn, and he was a very astute guy. But even the Philly beat writer talked about how Stefanski can be sort of a certain, I call it, steady Eddie. He doesn't like to give a lot of, information with his pressers, and he can be hard to kind of, we're always trying to guess what he's exactly thinking. So not sure where I was going with all that, but I know we're talking about Harrison Bryant. Hopefully Harrison Bryant is good. And I hope to hear
Harrison Bryant is expected back at practice within the next day or so, according to CBS.
Oh, okay.
Well,
right, cool.
There you go.
There you
go.
Elliot.
Breaking news. All right.
Breaking
so final
news. You heard it here first.
Let's do
by Elliot.
Final thoughts before we leave you guys tonight, because we're approaching kickoff. We want to get this out on our social media platforms. We're on X, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and please, please, please go to Apple, go to Spotify, go to iHeartRadio, follow us, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, and you will never miss a show. We bring you shows every week. These guys, Steve and Elliot, Joel and Rod, bring shows every week, every day. You will not miss anything, any updated news. We are here for you, and we're only going to get bigger and stronger. And we have really exploded. Our downloads are continuing to go up every month. We're 30, 40, 50% over. And that's thanks to you guys who are tuning in, clicking, listening to us every week. We appreciate you guys. Yes, we're a bunch of, we're not the young guns. We're not, but we bring a lot of that spirit. We know what it's been like to be a Browns fan for decades. And we have a lot of fun talking about it. And we're always hoping for that Super Bowl. So join us, listen to the Fanatical Elves Network. Final takes. Let's start with you, Elliot.
I think that the Browns are going to carry 4 tight ends rather than 7 wide receivers.
I like that. Harrison Bryant. Hopefully he'll be back.
He'll be back.
Steve.
I think they're going to carry 3 and 6 wide receivers, 10 offensive linemen, 3 running backs, and 3 quarterbacks. I have stayed with that, and I will not budge off of it. I'm looking forward to seeing how the young offensive linemen do against Philly's number 2 defensive line. Their number 2 defensive line could start for some teams in the NFL. right now. They are deep and talented.
This
And we'll see Greedy Williams again. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Oh,
Greedy
yeah.
Williams.
he might be struggling to make the team right tonight. That's what I've heard
he'll
from the
be
Philly guy.
probably starting tonight.
The DeJuan Jones, before we leave, I just love this guy. He's huge. Every time I watch him, I'm watching the Blind Side movie. And speaking of the Blind Side, holy cow, have you seen all this stuff in the news this week? I mean, it's been nuts with the whole Blind Side story, and the guy suing the family that raised him because it wasn't an official adoption, and
No, it was a conservatorship.
a conservativeship, yeah.
When he was 18.
And then both sides
Think of
now,
Britney
the family,
Spears, and
so the
relate.
families come back and said that, well, they tried to sue us and ask us for, or before the suing, asked us for $15 million. I don't know. The guy's 37 years old. I'm like, I don't know who to believe. I'm sad because I watched that movie and I watch it now, and I'm like, I like that movie, and now it's kind of ruined it for me. I don't know about you guys, but you don't care. Okay.
I don't.
Anyhow, I just think DeJuan Jones, I enjoy watching the guy. The guy's ginormous. That video of him guarding against the one guy from Philly, the All-Pro, there was some video out there at camp this
day
week.
one.
That was just fantastic. I thought I was watching him against a bunch of high school guys. So it's fantastic.
And he stood up for Demetric Felton when he got a cheap shot. So
yes,
kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed last week that when Nick Harris came in and played center, Luke Whippler was playing guard.
You mentioned that, yes.
Left guard. So I like to see that.
That awesome.
Means they're still tinkering with the ideas of the number 2 line. So
I like it.
I'm going to watch which offensive linemen play and when they play.
All right, folks. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Fanatical Elves Network. Part of the we had the Fanatical Browns Tailgate Show. Browns versus Philly. Go Browns. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you on the other side. Bye-bye.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. Here we go, Brownies.